So how are you doing, guys, on a brilliant day to be a Leeds United fan? In truth, it really couldn't have gone much better, but equally, truly, it was heart in the mouth time for a large part of the afternoon, and that just made the outcome all the sweeter, I have to say. A wonderful day, but also one of those that gut wrenches second half and in the first half. Now, last week we had a real wake-up call at Cardiff, as we always knew that we would. We know what it's like to play at Cardiff. We know we're going to struggle there. And then resurgent Brentford, as I thought they might, still coming through, beat West Brom, and we could feel them breathing down their necks, just 5 points back, and on the sort of roll that changes seasons. Now for Albion, that was a dire day, and I almost feel sorry for them. There's a lot of Baggies fans at the place where I work in Birmingham, and they're every bit as dubious about their side's chances of going up, about staying the course, as Leeds fans. And it's heartwarming to find out they're not the only ones. It really doesn't raise our chances when the going gets really tough, and it certainly is tough for them right now. They're in a poor spell of form. But really, there's no time for sympathy for other clubs here. We've had enough kicks in the teeth over the last few years, and it's someone else's time. Let them suffer. I share their pain, I really do, but who cares? So they were saying yesterday, in the middle of the Fulham, oh, what a terrible time, they haven't really had the odds. Who cares? Who cares? This is Leeds, that's all we care about. And after that game against Cardiff and what was happening, we were in a real dip. All the confidence of the 5-game unbeaten run with no goals conceded had gone. And yesterday it felt very bad at long times. The Fulham game was a big test for us. Now, I'd thought beforehand that Fulham had shot the bolt, that they hadn't got anything to offer. I was really wrong about that, and they did have an awful lot to bring to the table. In fact, they played really well, far better than I thought they would. But for us, this was the big test. Lose it and we'd have two teams breathing hot on the necks, and for large parts of the first half it felt like we were going to lose. Now, true enough, we were a goal up. We got that early goal through Brentford after 10 minutes. About the only thing he did, and it's the only thing that we did in that first half, in one of a few direct, incisive moments. We got them. But then somehow we either allowed them on, or we got forced onto the back foot by a side that was very gifted. And we feared what this big guy, Mitrovic, might do to us. Certainly Ben White had already felt the force of the nasty piece of work. So it's absolutely cowardly elbow in the face long after the ball had gone. Designed to damage. And we really had a pantomime villain from then on. He's a bastard. Now, Steve McLaren, that's what he's like, guys. It was good to see a few minutes later Ayling gave him a dose of his own medicine. And didn't he cry? What a shame, poor chap. But this guy, joint top scorer in the division, as I understand it, he had a big reputation. He could give us a hard time. He certainly got a big reputation, and you could see why. But in truth, after the first few minutes and lots of argy-bargy and arms going around, he didn't really give us that much trouble. Nevertheless, despite all that, mainly because they really knew what they were doing in midfield, Fulham were all over us, and we feared the worst. It actually felt like we were losing. We're up against it, but we're still a goal up. Now, at times like this, in Bielsa we trust, and at half-time he did what only Bielsa always will do. He made a couple of changes and shook up the side. He brought on Alioski and Hernandez for Costa and Bamford. What a change. Now, a week ago, Alioski had a mare. He was absolutely anonymous, did nothing, and we feared the worst again. But we couldn't understand why Hernandez hadn't been on from the start. Certainly, both of them did the business here in that second half. Alioski, loose cannon, off his head, running around, but he really does make things happen. He does stuff for us, he adds threat. He was a real presence from the start and gave Fulham all sorts of trouble. But absolutely, clearly, the star of the show was Hernandez. showing us exactly what we've been missing these last few weeks, pulling all the strings, so only he can. Fantastic, brilliant, amazing footballer, a game manager, a schemer in the truest sense of the word. Fantastic. Real cameo here. But it was outstanding. He's so very, very important to us. And Bielsa critically also moved Tyler Roberts up front into the central attacking role. And we were so much more mobile, so much more threatening than we'd ever been with Brentford. Now Brentford, off day, got the piss taken out of him for playing with his phone when they shot to him. But really, streets apart first and second half. Now Roberts was really doing the business here for a bit. He didn't get on the goal sheet, didn't manage to score, but he really made a difference. He powered at them. He gave them some tricky minutes. It's real life why I'm back to form. But it was Hernandez, the little magician. He was the game changer, and he really did make a difference here, and it shows what we've been missing. Now this season, with him in the side, we played 29 games and won 19 of them, drew 4, lost 6. Goals 48 to 20. That's a 66% win ratio. Without him, we played 10, won 3, drew 4, lost 3. Scores 11-12. Doesn't that tell you something? 30% win ratio. Telling figures, and it just makes such a difference. Now Sky flashed up their ratings, their scores in the same context from the last couple of years under Bielsa, and it's even more startling. We just can't do it with him. What happens when he goes? Really don't know. But let's not bother about that. Let's look at what we're like when we've got him here. And we were instantly more dangerous at Fulham, mastering midfield, and it was just a street apart. You know, Alioski made it 2-0 after 56 minutes with a pulled back cross that evaded everybody, and he calmly slotted down. It's the only calm thing he did all afternoon. And then he went running off, acknowledging the cheers of the crowdies. What's he on? It's almost like he thought they were real people. He was even applauding them at the end. Actually, he's a nutter, but he's our nutter, and he really makes a difference. After that, after the second goal, there was only going to be one winner. Only going to be one winner. Fulham huffed and puffed and tried to get back in, but they had not got a clue. Couldn't get through. And White and Cooper, phenomenal at the back. Really brilliant. And then we had that wonderful through ball. Played blind for Fernandes. Give me the ball, looking over shoulder. Pinged it. Mile down the forward. And Harrison did what he can do. Ran onto it. Outpaced his man. Finished wonderfully well. Wonderfully well. He didn't have that great a day, Harrison. But he works really hard for this team. Makes a difference, and he did wonderfully well when it really mattered. Okay, so 3-0. Can you believe it? Well, who cares? Because it's the facts. It's history now. So Pablo Hernandez, wonderful talent. Long may he reign for us. As I said, brilliant, brilliant day to be a Leeds fan. Warms your heart. Gives us what we need. So now, there's just 7 games left. We're now 3 points clear of West Brom, a fading West Brom, 8 clear of Brentford, and 10 clear of Fulham. That says a lot. We need 14 points from 7 games to be certain of going up. I still reckon we can do a little bit worse than that. I still reckon 12 could be enough. 12, 14, who cares? Let's just do it quickly, early on. Now I can see Brentford winning all 7 of their games. But Albion look very dodgy. So probably the hole's going to appear with them. More so than them. But I do say that Brentford have got a really easy running. They share many of the same games with us. And it just shows. The confidence in the outsider, the confidence in the opponent, less in yourselves. We should do this. In truth, it's only our heads that can stop us now. I do worry though that during the week, losing won't be a formality. Said after Cardiff, actually when the chips are against us, that's when we're up. But truly, when the chips are in our favour, that's when we're down. And you can see us after that wobbling at Blackburn. Certainly Swansea, Barnsley and Derby have all been difficult for us in the past. Not exactly bogey teams, but difficult. And we'd hate Derby to do something. We'd hate Derby to be a big game that we had to win. Anyway, that's ahead. Now I reckon Luton, Stoke and Charlton are bankers, which would need us probably needing 3 or 4 draws from the last few games to do it, to guarantee promotion. You can still see that we're going to be right at the end of this season, scrapping for points to get it. But that's what we did yesterday, and we got them, and we came home with it. And we've got a much better chance than this time last year, when we suddenly couldn't keep pace with Sheffield United and Norwich. But it was Sheffield United that did for us. They really came through as we faded. And we fell apart last year, but that's not going to happen. We're far better than we were last year. We're also far better than we've been in previous years. Now I've looked at this chart before, and Bielsa, so much better holding his nerve at crucial times. They always talk about an end of season collapse. They did last year, because of the way he drives people. But actually, we've always had wobbles. Look at things that we've done under Blackwell, Grayson and Monk. It's nothing new for us to have a wobble at this time of the year, but we look so much better equipped than we have before to deal with this. And actually, we've come back marvellously well. There was a comment yesterday that actually having the crowds not there might be helpful to us. It stops them driving us on, it stops them making us do the wrong things. And it's actually pointed out it worked. I hate to listen to Steve McLaren, because he's a smug bastard. Just don't like the guy at all. Comments though, in truth, about Calvin Phillips, spot on. He ain't ready for England, possibly never will be, but he makes a difference to us. Mistake last week, but back on form, did the business, running like mad right to the end. And just think about this, one thing is for sure, if we don't make it this year, we'll never ever have a better chance than we have right now. We should do this. It made you glow with pride today, what we saw out there when we were sorely tested and we came through it all. We're looking good, guys, very very good, the best, and it makes you feel so good. So please enjoy it, please enjoy it. These are the times that you join up for. But remember, you've got to be prepared with Leeds United for a few more twists yet. Just hold your nerve, hold your nerve. Hold your nerve. This is our year. Come on, Leeds.